We want to take you now to the White House. Moments ago, President Trump held a discussion on tax reform plan, and he actually addressed the Rob Porter scandal. Let's listen in.
I am totally opposed to domestic violence of any kind. Everyone knows that, and it almost wouldn't even have to be said. So now you hear it, but you all know it. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President, for your time. Thank you.
Now you hear it, but you all know it. I want to bring in CBS News national correspondent Chip Reid, who joins me now by phone. Chip, the vice president came out forcefully today saying that he doesn't support any sort of domestic violence. The president now, I can't imagine it's a coincidence.
Well, it may be. The vice president also had some strong statements to make about domestic violence and how appalled he was by the Rob Porter allegations when he was in Korea. But the president early on did two things. Number one, he had supportive comments for Rob Porter, and then in a tweet over the weekend, he seemed to side with those accused of domestic violence in a tweet saying that lives are being destroyed and shattered over mere allegations. So there has been quite an effort to get the president to actually say that to weigh in on the issue of domestic violence and whether he believes the ex-wives of Rob Porter who have alleged domestic violence. And he was silent for the past 8 or 9 days on that, even though he has had about 8 different opportunities to speak during live photo ops and such and appearances recently. So I'm sure the White House is relieved, because I know there's been a lot of frustration among White House staff that he had not addressed the issue of domestic violence itself. So I'm sure they're relieved, but I'm sure there will also be questions about why he kept it so short and didn't have more to say and didn't say anything about the alleged victims in the Porter case.
Why do you think he felt the need to come out today? You mentioned it's a week now that Rob Porter resigned. We haven't heard him say it like this, and at the end he said, now you heard it, but you all knew it.
Yeah, well, I guess he just assumes that everybody knows he feels that way. But, when you're the president, you need to tell people how you feel. You can't just say, well, you can just assume how I feel about something like this. People want to hear it. And certainly a lot of people have made the point that the president himself has been accused by more than a dozen women of sexual harassment, and that it's important to hear from him in particular in a case like this, just to make sure that he's in tune with what the vice president has been saying. And we'll see how people respond to this. But I wouldn't be surprised if there are some quarters that want him to say more, and in particular say something, since he did have supportive words for Rob Porter, perhaps he'll want to have at some point some supportive words for Rob Porter's alleged victims.
President Trump saying he is totally opposed to domestic violence of any kind. Or Chip Reid joining us by phone. Chip, thank you.
You bet.